Ah. Question about are elephants scared of bees? And secondly, the information that you sent through is that in some areas beehives are being erected attached to a wire, and when elephants touch the wire and shake the beehive, the bees come out and the elephants run away. And this is a natural way of saving crops for one, but also saving the honeybee and also pollinating food plants, and I suppose it's a whole massive thing. It's obviously working, Bushmom, otherwise they wouldn't be doing it, and I just think that that's fantastic. It's just another awesome initiative from people, rather than resorting to guns and violence, just a way of working together with nature. Have I seen elephants scared of bees? The drones that we had flying around here a couple of months ago sounded like a swarm of bees, and we definitely saw that at a distance of a couple of meters above an elephant's head that they reacted to the sound of that drone. And I know from walking around with that drone following me in the bush, it sounded exactly like a swarm of bees was flying overhead. Would bees be able to kill an elephant? No, I don't think that bees would be able to kill an elephant. I mean, they'd sting it on its face and its ears, and their ears are relatively sensitive. I mean, I don't think anything wants to be stung by a bee, barring a honey badger, perhaps. Even he wouldn't want to be stung by a bee. They just don't care. That's a good question. Scared of bees, the noise, I think, and the suddenness of bees arriving, the expected violence of an attack, the swarming around their face and in their ears, potentially bees crawling in their ears and stinging the sensitive parts of the ears, the tip of the trunk, on their eyes. Yes, I think that elephants would be scared of bees, and obviously it's an interesting thing, this initiative of the symbiosis between people, bees, and elephants. I think that that's quite an interesting story. So yeah, thank you very much for sharing that with us, Bushmom. Feel free to email that article or whatever information you can. Send it through to questions@wildearth.tv. I know Lou will try and print it out or send it to me via email. I'd love to read the whole article if you can. Just makes for some nice information to share with people all over the reserve. Now, these Ellies have moved, which means that we can't see them anymore. So if you'd bear with me while I move the car a little bit. So yeah, Louise has just made a comment that this may be the short trunk herd. I know that she is in quite a small herd, and that's absolutely a viable comment there, Louise. Let's see if we can see one of the big female without the trunk, I think, is the key. There is one elephant. Let's see. She seems to be the biggest. Although I think this is that young male with a single tusk. Let me just see. But that lady without the tip to her trunk, she's got a tiny calf with her, and I can't see a baby here. Although there are actually more than one. And also all the members of her herd have tusks, whereas this young bull is diagnostic of this particular herd with his single tusk. So Anna Marie, you've asked me a question, or asked us a question, let me say. You've asked us a question about elephant tusks, and does the quality of the vegetation determine elephant tusk length or I suppose size, or is it purely genetic? It's an interesting answer, that one, actually, in that yes, the vegetation will definitely have an impact on their tusks. In this aspect, the harder and the coarser the wood that they have to eat during the dry season will wear their tusks down faster. And in areas where you just have hardwood trees, or a majority of hardwood trees, quite often elephant tusks are broken off. Botswana is a prime example. A lot of mupani there, and these elephants in Botswana quite often have fractured tusks. But there's also a genetic aspect to it. Elephants in the Kruger National Park have very long, very big tusks. In Botswana, you'll find very thick, stubby tusked elephant, that'll have massively wide tusks, and that is absolutely genetic. So you do have a genetic aspect, you do have a type of vegetation aspect, and then the third thing that creeps in is the actual minerals availability in that area. Some areas have enough minerals to keep animals 100% healthy. Other areas are mineral deficient, and in areas like forests and things, elephant actually have to eat clay and have to eat a bunch of, you sometimes see elephant eating bits and pieces of the ground. It's called geophagy. And that's to get these minerals that they can't find in their diet, into their systems. And that can have an effect on the fragility of tusks and make them a bit more fragile, a little bit more brittle. It's a nice question there. I hope I answered it. I feel like I'm not giving anyone any real answers today. It's just discussions. This elephant is standing now in a thicket. It looks like he's standing in a sickle bush thicket, actually. Let me have a double check there and see what it is. No, it's another red thorn thicket. He's just once again just picked a branch off, one of the smaller branches at the top. Now Brent has managed in record time to make it to Cheetah Plains and has a surprise for you. I'm jealous.
So there we go. When I got the report, this buffalo was still alive, and the Styx lionesses have managed to catch a buffalo. And it's just expired, and the cubs are really getting stuck in. The ladies are still a bit tired to start feeding just yet, but these little cubs are being incredibly aggressive with each other. I can hear that growling.
He's just chilling. Well, that was the thing, especially when he was like lying on that snake.
So, look at them, really getting stuck in.
Yeah. Now you can see, buffalo inside and out.
Oh, here we go. Listen to those little growls.
So this is a great example of that also protects why we encourage the females in the cubs.
So, the Styx have been doing quite well recently from what I've heard. They made quite a few kills. This is right on the border of Coral and Cheetah Plains. Look at the little one just sitting on top. Now, can you believe those growls are coming from babies? Oh, look at that. The one's absolutely drenched in blood already. Look at the other one's going to go drink the blood that's pooling. But here comes another Birmingham. Now let's see what he's going to do when he gets to that carcass. He should be quite tolerant to the cubs. There's a lioness coming in. Might not be so tolerant of her. See how she immediately backs off. Oh, look at that. That is one drenched little cub. Oh, look at that, nose to nose with the big Birmingham.
It's not always the case, but it seems to be, something that this bird particularly kind of feeds. Yeah, so they're often going onto the back. That's how something like this is exactly.
Oh, cub getting in trouble from dad.
It's disgusting. But it's so cool at the same time.
Now, Blue Butterfrog says these cubbies are definitely going to need some cleaning later.
He's deciding that buffalo he wants for breakfast. Just like bacon.
No, it's definitely been a lion morning.
Their tongue is actually coarse, very fine sandpaper.
Oh,
So what you'll find happens is that
moving away.
so a lot of the time once they've actually started to eat on something,
Just keeping quiet so we can hear what's going on. Now, the male will be tolerant of the cubs to a degree, but he might chase off the females.
that Steve and myself were chatting about last night. People think that these lion kills, like what happens in Disney, since they're more Tarantino. It's become my new favorite cub. It's kind of neat on what it's getting stuck in. I mean, look at the other cubs bumping between the males.
Linda would like to know, are these the mangy looking cubs that were left alone at the Djuma pan, or that muddy empty pan the other day? They are indeed. This is the Styx Pride. So there are 8 cubs here, 3 adult lionesses. And sorry about that. And just 1 adult male at the moment, but he is part of the Birmingham coalition. There's another one who's with the Torchwood Pride around the Kruger boundary and Torchwood, and then the 2 with the Nkahuma Prides. Now, Safari Dean says that's the cutest thing covered in blood I've ever seen. Yes, they are quite sweet looking. It's amazing how much they sound like adults when they growl. Sorry, I'm just going to move my mic. Sorry if it makes a terrible noise. There we go. Look at that. I can't decide. I think I really like the cub that looks like it's been Look at that. So James Richard is wondering, well, don't the cubs only have their milk teeth? So do they have to wait for an adult to open up? Oh, goodness. They probably, you've probably found even with their milk teeth, they will be able to chew through certain parts of the skin, the softer area around the nether regions. But it's much easier when it has been opened by the adults, of course.
You know what my best is? What's next, right? I've kind of dropped the gear in a bit of awkward one because he's your ranger.
And then we will make space for the other vehicles. I just wanted to get here as quickly as possible because there's always this incredible interaction just after the animal's killed and when the animals are still quite hungry and just getting involved in the feeding process. Look at those little guys. Them just off to the left. Look at that one licking the blood off its stopped off Mom's face. That was the lioness that looked like she was around the nostrils, and now the cub is just licking the blood all off her lips. Lulu Fire is wondering, how did I find out that the Styx were on a kill? I got a call on the radio from Mike on Cheetah Plains. Listen to that sound. Those are cubs growling. Now, Justin is wondering how many lion kills could lions accumulate over their life. Oof, Justin, I'm afraid that's a near impossible thing to answer because it all depends. Now, the more cubs that try feed in the same spot, the more aggressive it'll become. Looks like the male's dragging it now. Now, Emma's wondering, would the lions eat the stomach content? They would not, Emma. The stomach content of a buffalo is undigested grass. And of course, lions are after the meat. Now, the bones, if they are able to break open the bones, they definitely will eat them, as the marrow is a very, very good source of protein. See, the cubs seem to be playing Who's the King of the Buffalo on top.
Because nothing's going to come off unless you've got like a big cat.
It's just incredible to watch. There's the big battle between the two smallest cubs trying to get right inside that buffalo. Oh, watch out for Dad. But it's happy days for the Styx Pride now. Lots of meat. Hopefully a good meal will start getting these cubs looking a little bit better.
He's male. He'll battle on his own. And he'll stand forward trying hard. I think he might actually be trying to put back to sleep. But the whole lot.
Now, Morning Glory's wondering, oh, the whole Styx Pride here. Yes. Well, there we go. We've got 1 lioness, 2 lioness, 3 lioness, and 1, 2. The cubs keep moving. That's what makes them difficult. 3, 4, 5, 6, and I think the others are just behind that buffalo's body that we can't see. Look at that one sneaking up to try feed where the male's opened. Let's see how that works out for him. Oh, cheeky. Oh, he's going to keep trying. Gotta like his attitude. What cheeky little cub. Oh, you've really got to admire the courage of that little one. I'll take a swat back at you, Dad. Look at him, he's still snarling. Still snarling. He's sneaking in again. Oh, he's going to get back up. Oh, oh. this. Very brave little cubs. So Anne in Durban says surely nutrition is the best defense against the skin disorder. And yes, it is.
Spaat met jou.
Ek is baie
Doe toe woordskap.
ek het vanmôre gesien.
Julle manne moet bly weg van my.
Look at this. So hopefully that little cub is going to try and get to that area. So the male's actually open up. It's probably going to go. He's going to get the tongue. There we go. It's got the tongue. And there it goes. This little guy is still making an incredible racket while trying to sneak closer to where the male's feeding. Look at that little cub just to the right there. He keeps popping his head up. Oh, here we go. The next one crawling in. Let's see what happens. I'm not actually coming in here. I'm not actually coming in here. There's the brave and very loud little one coming back. Look at that incredible power, how that male moves that carcass. What Joanne says, look at that. Cubs are practicing, the ones on top of the buffalo, for when they have to catch their own buffalo. Oh, now there's 3 going in there. Let's see how long it takes before Dad sends a SWAT.
Cheetah. Stand away. Yabba.
Fierce little ones. Now, Anna Marie is wondering if I think this Birmingham boy took part in the kill. Anna Marie, I know for a fact he did not. So I heard over the radio that he just watched the ladies take it down. Okay, let's see what happens now with those 2 little rascals getting right there where he's feeding. Safari Dean says, look, let's jump on top of the carcass and let Dad pull you around. The one thing we can definitely say is the Styx cubs are not lacking in character. The males moved off the lionesses and they try to come in and feed. Incredible sounds. Just going to try reposition quickly there. Are there any stations standing by for these Ngala? How's that for you, Ian? Sherry in Colorado. Sherry is wondering why lions don't hoist their kills like leopards. Well, Sherry, buffalo weighs a fair amount, and also lions are not the best tree climbers, whereas leopards are specially adapted to being able to climb trees. Lions not so much, and lions live in social groups, so it's more animals to protect their kill from potential other predators or thieves, whereas leopards are solitary, so it helps to have a larder. It's definitely warming up. Oh, look at that on top. ready for a little war. Oh, well, it looks like it's all settled a little bit, so let's jump back on board with Steph, who's got a feathered friend.
Welcome back. Wow, I bet Brent in his element, having raced across there, get to see all those cubs fighting over that carcass. I mean, just amazing. Really, really, really awesome. What you're looking at here, hopefully you can see, it's not the best view, but there in silhouette in the middle of the tree, just below the main stem, is a Bateleur. And these Bateleurs are just waiting for the thermals. We're almost ready for thermals at this time of the day. And there we go. Well, so as I said, almost ready for thermals. Here we go. Bateleur getting ready to fly out. Just going to see if we can. There we go. Dave's on him. On him. And there we got. Awesome. It's looking like it might go and sit in that bush. There we go. How awesome was that? Just swap trees. Chloe, all the way from Illinois, you've just asked me what's my favorite bird species. Ooh, I'd probably have to say, wow, my favorite call is definitely the crested francolin. As to my favorite bird species, probably the more animated of the birds. So any of the animated birds that don't just sit and do nothing all day or sit and wade. So I suppose the sunbirds and kingfishers I really enjoy. They're just always busy. And I suppose a group of birds that hold my interest. In other words, I'd like to travel to go to a place to go and see these types of birds. Would have to be the sunbirds or the hummingbirds. I just really enjoy their colors and the fact that they're just so super energetic. Now what's happened with this particular Bateleur? Now, Bateleurs are carrion feeders, so tying it into that carcass that you've just been hauled away from, is that these Bateleurs will often get flying first before the vultures because they're slightly lighter than the vultures, so they can do with less of a thermal. They will then fly around and very often see carcasses first, land in trees nearby, and it's on the back of these birds finding kills first that often vultures will come and investigate a particular area. Now, I'm just double checking my fact here because I'm a bit rusty on sexing of a Bateleur, but that wing panel that you can see there, so just below the white bar on the wing is a black line, and now it's either a male or a female, so just give me 1 second here. I think the larger in eagles is always the female, and the smaller of the two is always the male. And the reason for that is that females have to produce an egg, and they do it using obviously the materials in their bodies, and they need to be slightly bigger because birds are incredibly weight sensitive. So by her taking out some of her body to make an egg, she needs to be able to replace that energy, and she needs to be able to fly around with that egg inside of her for a bit. So in eagles at least, the females are always bigger. Now I'm just busy checking here. I'll be with you in 1 second. Let's see. To sex this particular one. It is a male, I thought so. Alright, so it's a male, and I know that because of the totally black wing bar just below that white patch. Females, you'll be able to see a white portion there. It'll be completely white. So when they're flying above you, half white, half black is male, and then a skinny little line is a female. This is a male Bateleur. Even though he looks quite impressive, he's fairly big. Also called the short-tailed snake eagle. It was called the short-tailed snake eagle for a while. They've got a unique way of catching snakes. They sometimes swoop down onto a snake that's crossing a road, pick it up, and then whiplash it in the sky. In other words, they'll pick it up, drag it into the sky, drop it, catch it mid-air, change direction very quickly, which whips that snake and obviously breaks its spine and kills it, and then they eat the snake. So they are called snake eagles, and if this particular Bateleur allows us a glimpse, you'll see that its feet, well, not its feet really, but its legs are not covered in feathers. They have got featherless legs, and they'll use their wings and their feet to strike out at snakes as well. Obviously, if a snake strikes the feathers on the wings, it's harmless. And then the unfeathered legs are more maneuverable, and they'll strike out using their sharp claws and talons and incredibly strong grip to then disable the snake. But that being said, these short-tailed snake eagles are mostly carrion feeding. They're mostly scavenging birds, and will very often just wait for easier pickings off of a carcass, similar to that one that you are lucky enough to be viewing with Brent. Quintessentially African way of looking at things is this snake eagle in their trees. Because they are carrion feeding birds, you don't really find these birds outside of national parks in South Africa. And that's because they get poisoned quite often. Well, I don't know if it still happens as much, but quite often poisoned carcasses are left out to kill, in particular, jackal and caracal. Excuse me. Excuse me. I tried to cover that as best as I could. Oh, excuse me, please. Sorry. And quite often they fall victim to these poisoned carcasses, and so pairs of Bateleurs that live on the periphery of national parks in South Africa quite often fall victim, their babies especially, fall victim to these poisoned carcasses. Talking about babies, one of this eagle's babies is flying around us, and I'm going to see if we can pick it up. It's flying over this valley here over my head. And while I need to get my pink head out of your shot there so I can stop disgusting you, let's see if we can see that. Now it's probably landed now. It was busy calling now, and I can't actually see which tree it landed in. Let's go around the corner and see if we can see it a bit easier. Now I know that it's immature because it was colorless. It had the brown feathers, not black and white feathers. So James Richard, you just commented on enjoying the double-banded sandgrass that we showed you eventually after waiting at that pan for so long last night, and you want to know how many other types of sandgrass we find in this area. James, while there may be some overlap in the northern part of the Kruger with one or two of the other sandgrass species, here in particular we only get the double-banded sandgrass, and that one that we saw last night was the female, and I know that because she was uniformly colored. The males have this big bold black and white stripe across their chest. Just have a look at this magnificent knobthorn. I'm going to go back a little bit to just give you the impression here. I like these trees. When I first started guiding, this was the first tree that I could identify from its flowers, and my trainer at that stage just said, they're easy, they're the ice cream trees. And have a look at that. You can see, I mean, it's going to take a little bit of imagination with this particular tree, but you can imagine a cone with an ice cream blob on the top there. Isn't that just amazing? Let's go a little bit closer and have a look at its flowers, and maybe we'll be lucky enough to see what's pollinating it. There's not that many bees around, to be quite honest, and not that many flies. There was one fly. I think James had a fly on a knobthorn flower the other day. So you might find that being the first flowers in the season, there's a butterfly. And you see the butterfly there, Dave? Up on the top, a little bit up to the left. There you go. Up at the top left corner, there's a butterfly there on the edge. There we go. Let's see if we can identify that particular butterfly for you. I have my butterfly book and I've been looking forward to using it. And that'll give us an idea. Let's see if we can identify that butterfly for you. Hey, fly away. Still got him. I can't even see him anymore. Well done, Dave. I see quite a few insects actually swimming around here. Okay, so I've got the one. So here we go. You can come through here. I've figured it out. So the butterflies that are flying around here, busy pollinating this particular knobthorn acacia, are the Acraeas. There was this Acraea, and the one that we were looking at was this one. So the window Acraea and the broad-bordered Acraea was the two of the butterflies that we saw busy pollinating this particular flower. The Acraea. You might find, let's see if we can see anything else. I don't see any bees, I just see those two butterflies. Let me have a... So we've got the Acraea again, right at the top there. Oh yes.
There's one next to it.
Oh, albeit you've just commented on how did I see that butterfly from so far away. I didn't actually, to be quite honest with you. I expected that there was going to be a butterfly on here, or not a butterfly, a pollinator of some sort, and it just caught my eye. That's an Acraea, except that there was now another butterfly there. There was also an African monarch on the leaf as well. Or it may have been a dancing Acraea. Just judging from the fact that the other two butterflies we saw were both Acraeas, I'm going to go with a dancing Acraea. That looks like the Acraeas are the ones that are pollinating these flowers. I also see a Jewell beetle. So I've got a blue Jewell beetle. Let's see what else we can see here. I'm going to see if I can show you that blue Jewell beetle. It might be a little bit too much for this camera that we got. So, Dave, there where that butterfly's flying there now?
Yes.
There where it's landed, just above it, the topmost flower has got a dark spot in the middle of it. That's a Jewell beetle. Let me see, go. There we go, we're going in. There we go, you can see that there where that butterfly just threw, there we go. That dark spot is a Jewell beetle, a blue Jewell beetle. And that Jewell beetle will be probably sucking the sap from the tree or feeding on the pollen. So we've got Jewell beetles, some Acraeas. I don't see anything else. So butterflies and beetles so far. It's going to be interesting to see what else comes onto these flowers. But anyway, thank you for sharing these flowers with us, you fantastic tree. And on that note, I think it would be good to send you all the way back through to those lions with Brent, who's got an update on what they've been doing.
So I've left the lines. We're going to go back there before the end of drive. I'm just going to go take a quick check around the southern open areas, see if there's a possibility of a cheetah or ostriches, and or maybe I'm hoping to catch up with Gnormless Gnorman the Gnu, my old mate. Oof. Let's have a look. This is also the area in Cayenne has been spending a lot of time in. Now, good morning to Siberia, one of our Zoomies. Siberia is saying, have I ever heard any folklores or stories of indigenous people using cheetah, lion or leopard for hunting? There is only one that I know of, and it's not you, or I suppose it is, but it's more of a moral. It's a moral folklore, a moral story about the lazy hunter, and it's a Zulu story. The lazy hunter. It was a particularly lazy man, and when he happened upon a female cheetah who had 5 cubs, and she was hunting, and he saw how good she was at hunting, and she left the cubs lying in a thicket like most of the big cats do, and went off to have a drink of water. And the lazy hunter thought to himself, if I catch one of those, I can use it to hunt. So then he got there, he took 1 cub, then he thought, but if I have 2 cubs, then I don't have to do any hunting. So he took a second, and he thought, but hey, if I have 3, 4, 5, if I have 5 cubs, then I'm sorted for life. So he took all 5 cubs and disappeared. The female cheetah came back, and she started calling and crying, and she cried so much that it darkened and stained her face, and that's why cheetah have those black tear marks going down their eyes. Eventually one of the village elders said, Mother Cheetah, what is the problem? She says, I don't know. Someone has stolen my cubs. And eventually that lazy hunter got caught. The village elders returned the baby cheetah to mom, and the lazy hunter was expelled to wander the wilderness on his own. That's the only story I've heard of. Generally, in most African cultures, the only domesticated animals, apart from livestock, have been dogs, and dogs are used for hunting throughout Africa. Now, more than likely, dogs domesticated themselves over time, scavenging around people, and people probably didn't chase them away because they developed into an early warning system for bigger predators like lions and stuff being around. The dogs would yap, bark, and notify the people, and that's probably how the domestication of dogs happened. Hi, Virginia. Virginia is in Kentucky, and Virginia would like to know what is the most intelligent animal in the bush and the least intelligent animal. Well, Virginia, that's a difficult question, because I suppose a lot of actually what we would consider intellect is actually instinct, but I'd say probably in terms of the capacity of learning, the most intelligent animals in the bush are probably baboons and vervet monkeys, and with hyenas very close in that. Those 3 probably the most intelligent. The most stupid, probably. What do you think's the most stupid, Fem?
Crocodile.
No, crocodile is actually one of the not. It's one of the only reptiles that has the capacity for learning. And I'd definitely say crocodile is smarter than quite a few other things out there. Snails, yes, snails are probably quite stupid. But I think Virginia is referring to mammals. I'd probably say rhinos. Rhinos are not very clever, neither are hippopotamus for that matter, or wildebeest. Now, Final Control thinks squirrels, but I have evidence to dispute the fact that squirrels are stupid, because they still manage to get into my stash of snacks. I've now boarded up the house, and they found a gap through the chimney. So I need to find a way to block up the chimney now. Well, just hoping for a view of some cheetah down here, but all I can see is some zebras. Let's just go a bit further forward. Probably making their way slowly towards the Cheetah Plains pan. Really still out here in the open area. Well, let's leave the zebras, and hopefully before the end of the show we'll have a chance to go back into those lines. And while we keep searching Cheetah Plains and slowly make our way back towards the Styx Pride, let's go see what Steph's up to.
Welcome back, welcome back. We've come to Mumba Road, and it was round about here that young or that juvenile Bateleur was flying around. I'm hoping that we get to see some of it. Just looking at all the little bumps and protrusions in any of the trees that we got around. And then I'm also heading down towards the Mulwati, because I did say that I'd like to travel in the Mulwati a little bit today so that we can see if any of the weeping boer beans are flowering in that area. In particular, I'm wanting to go there because, similar to that knob thorn that you were just with, they're starting to flower. I'm hoping that they're starting to flower, and because of the massive nectar load that the weeping boer bean flower produces, it is a hive of activity. They literally, you don't even understand, the bush just moves around them with things. So Raisa, you've just said that weeping boer beans are your favorite, and I must say this time of year weeping boer beans are some of my favorite as well. So I'm glad that we share that in common, and I also hope that we see one today. So we're going to head down now. This road will terminate in the Mulwati, and then we'll pick a direction either upstream or downstream to drive in. I'll see how I feel when I get there, and hopefully with the more nutrients at the river and more water, that would be where I would imagine we'd get a boer bean flowering for the first time. That's on top of some or other termite mound. We had a look at some of them yesterday, maybe one or two that were on top of termite mounds yesterday, and I must be honest, none of them looked like they were even budding yet. But maybe we're lucky. It is going to be something that I spend the next couple of days trying to find before friend James gets back. This place always amazes me. No one really likes driving Mumba Road because it goes over this crest where we have these monkey thorns, or monkey oranges, excuse me, not monkey thorn, where we have this vast thicket of monkey orange. And if you do find anything here, you can never ever get into it because these trees literally rip our cars to pieces. But a lot of activity comes through them. Lots of buffalo enjoy hiding out in them. You find elephant wandering through them. Lots of zebra, steenbok duiker, leopard because of that. I've walked through this particular thicket on a number of occasions, and it's quite extensive. I'd say a good couple of hectares in extent across the top of this creek. One of the largest of the monkey orange thickets that we have on the property is this particular one. And you know, up until I started at Djuma, I didn't really ever think about the monkey orange thickets. I mean, I'd seen monkey oranges, of course, but I didn't until I'd started here last year in April realize the extent that these monkey oranges have invaded. I can't really call it an invasive plant. It's not an invasive plant, what it is, it's growing in response to something that's happening on it, and it's either overgrazing or it's compaction that does this. This particular plant does well in an area where other plants do not. So if that makes sense. So monkey oranges do well and propagate well and live well in areas that other plants don't. And generally, when you got a reduction in climax communities of plants, it is because of either compaction, lots of animal traffic, or overgrazing. Also, once again, just lots of animals just overgrazing all the nice plants. Well, I got some issues going on with my sound here. Let me just check in my pocket. All right, it was probably because I was leaning against it a little bit too much there, and it couldn't speak nicely to the receiver. We should be sorted out now. I've now gone back into my usual position, standard game drive position. All right, so now we are approaching the Mulwati, and I'm busy scanning. The flowers of the weeping boerbean are a blood red color. And so what I'm looking for is any bush with this sort of reddish tinge. But Jason, hi Jason, you've asked, do I know anyone that's been poisoned by Tamboti smoke, and what are the symptoms? I don't actually. Tamboti poisoning is one of those, Tamboti smoke poisoning is one of those things that you hear about often, but it always seems to happen to other people. And so I don't know of anyone that has been poisoned by Tamboti smoke. I mean, it's obviously real, but I don't know of anyone that's been poisoned by it. And are we going to go this way, Dave? Yeah, let's go this way. And the symptoms are tummy cramps and nausea, with an extreme case of runny tummies and diarrhea being what happens. I think I may have chosen a difficult egress point here. Let's just see. No, nothing that Wendy won't be able to deal with in the blink of an eye. Alright, so now the key is just to let Wendy idle through the sand. I mean, to the point where I could get onto the door and have a chat to you like this. Oops, wait, except if my thigh stops the steering wheel from going where it needs to go. It gives me a chance now to scan the bush over here for this weeping boerbean that we're looking at. So yeah, it'll generally just make you sick there, Jason, the Tamboti smoke poisoning, tummy cramps, nausea, and diarrhea in extreme cases. I suppose if you were young, you put a baby in the smoke, or you put someone who has some or other type of respiratory problem smoke. All right, we may have a little bit of signal breakup. We're in a depression here, and quite often our signal can't get out of these low places and get to our signal. So excuse us if we break up, but we'll quickly drive out of those areas. And let's see if Wendy can make this corner without a gentle prod of the accelerator pedal. All right, and while we just get out of this low signal area, and hopefully we don't find a boerbean in here, we're going to send you over to Brent, who doesn't have any of those problems whatsoever.
Well, welcome back. We are on our way back towards the Styx Pride. So we're heading up towards the northern boundary between Cheetah Plains and Nkoro, and that's exactly where the kill is, but a little bit closer to 3 in a row pad. Acraea is wondering why the Styx and Nkumas seem to specialize in buffalo and not kudu or zebra. Well, Acraea, there's a lot of buffalo here, and specifically with this drought, there is... Oh, sorry, Acraea. There is a lot of buffalo bulls, and especially with this drought, they are not in great condition, so there's a high reward for the risk that they take on catching those buffalo. And now, especially with cubs, they're going to need to kill more often if they focus on smaller creatures like kudu and zebra. Now with the buffalo, it's a good solid source of meal for a couple of days. And as those cubs get older, they're going to have to produce more and more meat for them. And that also, and that also means, and also as the cubs get older, they're going to be able to also join in the buffalo hunts. I just got to make sure that there's space back with the sticks. So we're going to jump back on with Steph, who's in the Mawati. Hopefully he can succeed where I failed and find you a white-throated robin.
Oh, really? Oopsie, sorry. I've got my microphone unplugged and I didn't know I was live. So, Davey, giving me the heads up there. All right, here we have a weeping bourbean. Let us see if we can spot any flowers. So this is a magnificent example of a bourbean. And let's see if we can get anything here. So what we're looking for is these like grape-like trusses of flowers. And similar to every other bourbean that I've actually seen for the last week or so, since the knob thorns have started flying, not even a bud. I wonder if it's not in response to the dry. They need a certain amount. They don't have a certain amount of water that they need to have access to before they shoot out their buds, because of the fact that they produce such a lot of nectar. The nectar literally runs down the sides of these trees. It actually stains the bushes. But this particular tree has not even one. I think what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go and visit that massive bourbean tree on that massive termite mound at the junction with the Chelepan and Weaver's Nest, and see if perhaps a termite colony with access to better water may have different. Maybe we can see some buds, but this absolutely has nothing. Brent has just asked me to keep an eye out for you for that white-throated robin that he's been looking for. I absolutely will, Brent. I mean, they are quite difficult birds to find. I know why Brent wants to see one is because they are quite special to see, especially around these areas. So I've got some sunbirds and I have some go-away birds that are around, but nothing much. We will absolutely have a better chance of seeing that white-throated robin when this particular bourbean starts to flower, which will be, it doesn't look like any time soon. It's interesting, you know, every single year out here brings with it a different thing. Brings with it a different insect that's a plague. This year it's been flies, and for the last year it's been flies. Other times there'll be these little stink bugs or spiders or you name it. What happens out here is every single year there'll be something or other that gives us a different surprise and has a different epidemic to it, or feel to it at least anyway. It's not really an epidemic, but it just feels like it. There's a brown-hooded kingfisher, and we've got in the branch right there, there you go, over there in the middle. Brown-hooded kingfisher. So unlike the woodland kingfisher, this particular bird, although it has that blue, it's a slightly darker blue on the wing and not as much of it. And then it has a beak that is red at the top and red at the bottom, not red and black like the woodland kingfisher. And then although it has got an eye stripe, it's not that mask that the woodland kingfisher has. Coupled with the fact that this one doesn't migrate away, so this one is sedentary, it's not nomadic, and there he goes. Oh, he's in the sun now. Let's see if we can get him there. And they have a Catholic diet, is how they describe it. This little kingfisher will eat anything, from lizards to snakes, from frogs to tadpoles, mice, all the way through to anything that it can catch and kill, this little bird. And he flies away. Obviously doesn't want to be filmed too much. Anyway, at least we got to see him, which was quite nice. So these little birds don't go anywhere. Woodland kingfisher we expect back around about November, end of November, beginning of December. Alright, so no luck in the Mulwati in this particular area for weeping boerbean. So Raisa, we're still on the look out for that particular tree, but what I am going to do is see if we can go through to Chelepan before the end of the drive. And while I get there, I'm going to send you back through to some lion cubs which are busy trying to inhale a buffalo.
Well, they're doing a pretty good job. Some of them have already eaten their full and have just passed out, like this little guy here. And the others, there's 2 cubs still feeding and 1 lioness. The rest have spread out. Now, at the moment I can only see, there's the male. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cubs and 1 lioness. 2 lioness, sorry, I'm missing 1 lioness. But I'm sure she's sleeping around here close by, or she might have headed towards 3 in a row pan for a drink. Oh, complaining, don't come eat near me. There's some serious attitude amongst these little Styx cubs. Now you can see that little one is there where the male opened up. Oh, she's trying to pull it into the shade. Bit too heavy for her by herself. Justin's wondering, would lions eat till they make themselves sick? Sometimes. Oh, hello. There's that little one with the very tatty ears. Apparently it's been nicknamed Mandlev, which means ears. Oh, look at that. Look how strong she is. Still not quite able to pull it into the shade by herself, or maybe she'll succeed. The little one just hanging on. Bush Mum is wondering why the lions haven't opened up this buffalo fully yet. Well, it's probably because I think they had a kill yesterday, so they're not too hungry. You can see from their bellies. Although these little cubs, you would swear they were starving the way they're behaving. So, oh, look at that. Wow, he's actually quite high. Sorry, I was watching the lions on the kill. But look at that little cub right up a little bush willow tree, just for fun. But this little one with the tatty ears has managed to almost get underneath.
Yeah, definitely not as great.
Okay, well, we're going to stay with the lions, but Steph would like to bid you adieu, so let's go see him quickly.
That is exactly what I'd like to do. So we've got something to come to this afternoon. We didn't quite get out to that weeping boerbean as quickly as what I thought we were going to. Nevertheless, it leaves something exciting to look for this afternoon. But from myself, Steph, and from Dave, we just want to say thank you very, very much for joining us this morning. All your questions and comments, always such a pleasure. Have a good day wherever you are. See you again at 3 o'clock.
So it's definitely been a lion-filled day. We started off with the 15 lions on Djuma, the 5 Nkuhumas, 8 cubs, and 2 Birminghams. And now we're ending with the 8 Styx cubs, 1 Birmingham, and 3 lioness. So what's that total there, yeah? I think that could be a record. For one day, a Safari Live record. So we've got 15 with Nkuhumas and Birmingham, so 1 more Birmingham, 16, plus 3 lionesses were 19, and then 8 more cubs. Maths is not 27. 27 lions in a drive. Wow, not bad going. Look at that little one, has really just got right in there. I think Gavin is a spot on there. He says the Styx are definitely do not have the privilege of beauty, but these little cubs will be very good scrappers when they grow up. And sometimes that's better than being beautiful, knowing how to hold yourself in a fight. It has been an absolutely splendid sunrise safari. Thanks for joining us. It's been great having you on the back. And as I said, what a lion-filled morning. 27 different lions today. And, well, we're going to have to make some choices for the sunset safari. Where to go? Thanks for all the questions and comments. We really do appreciate them. But from all of us here at Safari Live, we're about to leave. So I'm going to keep chatting to you, but let's look at the lions. Look at that little one. He's really got stuck in, whole head inside that buffalo cow's, well, what would be her mouth, where the male has eaten the tongue already. So from the Styx cubs and us, adieu till this afternoon.